Hi everyone. So I was just thinking about a lot of things. The voice of God. Have you guys ever felt conviction in your heart for whatever you might have done or said or things like that? Honestly, I believe in the voice of God, and from what I've studied and stuff like that, from the Bible, books, articles, the web, the whole 9 yards, is that God is a loving God. He's patient, kind. He's not a rude and out of order type of person or God. He is all loving and knowing, understanding. So I was thinking about it, just crossed my mind. But before I get into that, I just wanted to talk about how God can speak in different formats. He could speak out loud to us at times. He could speak to us through our mind, thoughts, random thoughts. I heard, like, if you hear like a random thought, or I mean, not hear, but like, because there's a difference. You could hear, but then sometimes there's thoughts. So if you get a random thought of it, like an invention or idea or some form of conviction, like a quick one, you go to eat out, and instead of eating the fries, you're thinking about eating the salad, that type of thing. And it could cross your mind like that. You have that choice. Boom. And it's up to you. Right. So I was thinking about, well, there's that, and then through the television, that's how, or the radio, a lot of times God speaks like that to us. I've heard a lot of um like stories of people hearing, you know, God speak to them through the radio, television, other people even. Um but anyway, I was thinking about people that are in prison and how it just doesn't make sense that they're in there. I think it's messed up. So, especially people that are in there for like drunk driving and they accidentally killed other people, I think they should just be released, because that could happen to anyone. And I've heard of the stories where they're working, they were working their whole life. They basically had a good job and everything, good career. And one day they just decided to go out and they had too much to drink or whatever. And, they wake up in jail. And then to make matters worse, they say that they have to do or live their whole life there. So I think that they should be able to get released and maybe have like a probation or license suspended, like permanently, where they can't drive at all for whatever reason. I think that would be like a better disciplinary action for people, that were drinking and driving and that accidentally killed someone or hurt other people. But I understand that there's different cases and stuff like that. But I just think that that's kind of messed up. Because, like, yeah, I could be in a car, someone could hit me if they're drinking and driving, and I can die. And people that care about me would, obviously say, yeah, give that person life, for doing that. But I don't think that's right. I think people should have a second chance when it comes to that. I believe that in my heart. Maybe not a second chance to drive, though. And a law of everything that we're surrounded by are the cameras everywhere, monitoring and recording everything. I believe that we can ensure that they don't fall into those type of problems or issues ever again. Then if they did it, or if they do it again, then yeah, then that would be like a super no, right? Where, or like deserving of incarceration forever. But that's still messed up. Regardless how you look at it, I think it's messed up. And that's also why we have like taxis and other mobile services and stuff like that. Yeah, because there is this one guy, this one morning, he was in the jail where I was at, incarcerated. And he said he was in there for drunk driving. And he said he didn't even remember anything, but they told him that he killed someone. And I don't know what the outcome of his case was, because he eventually left or something. So, yeah, like, I just don't know how many people are incarcerated for those reasons, you know? And how many people like that were so blacked out or so drunk that they can't remember or they couldn't remember when they woke up or snapped out or sobered up or when the alcohol left their body. Because maybe there's other deeper things that could also be considered, like who was that person hanging out with? Did those people give him some food that altered his thinking? Did they drug him possibly? Or her? In any case, for anyone that's locked up for drinking and driving, you know? Because now there's like marijuana in like all types of food. And I heard some people like pranking other people by giving them food and drugging them, and they think it's funny, and like they were laughing and stuff, but people can die from that. It's not a joke. And if they do die, then they will be held responsible, whoever was involved, right? So yeah. I think the same can be true in today's time and age. Like if there's certain friends hanging out and they're envious or hateful or jealous of someone, and they can drug a specific person that they, obviously that they don't like, or yeah, the stuff I described, just to like get them or get that person fired from their work. So they could be like, hey, we did that to like the boss or something. Like now drug test everyone. So that person won't even know that there's drugs in his system or her system. And then they can go to work, get drug tested, and they can get found dirty with, drugs or whatever. Or even operating machinery, like heavy machinery, like a construction vehicle, driving vehicle, that type of thing. And without their knowledge, they could just go perform the P test or whatever test they're trying to do to see if there's any drugs or that person is taking any drugs, and then and then they get found dirty, and now that person is like out there trying to look for work. Maybe they were so close to retirement and people just ruined it for them or whatever. Like, I think we really need to look out for ourselves by making sure that we all understand the power of technology, the World Wide Web even. But I believe it's smart enough and can come up with its own logic to assist us. Because we just never know if people that are older are under attack by other people that don't want them to go under unemployment. No, not unemployment. Like retirement and like receiving their pension or whatever all that stuff is. Like getting free money for not doing anything. But they work for so many years. So by law they deserve that. But some people could be jealous of other people. That's all I'm trying to say. So we just never know. We just don't know. So, like, when I was incarcerated, they came out with like newer, I think it was technology or newer evidence of whatever technology or stuff they have out there, and they were releasing all kinds of people, and they even brought it up to me like, yeah, like anyone from like 1997 and older, back in the day history, if any type of case that falls under the new, you know, technology or whatever evidence that could potentially lead someone to their freedom, then, there is a lot of people like that. And they even, like mentioned an approximate number of how many inmates would be released thereafter. And I think it's the same or true with technology today and how everything is becoming more and more synchronized, especially the cameras and everything. So people back in the day that committed crimes or whatever, they could potentially be released. Obviously, under monitoring and recording of their activity levels, their whole activity, their whole life from that point on. And because we just never know if maybe they were set up or other people set them up, or there's females as well, so we just never know if someone set them up or whatever. So it's kind of crazy stuff. So the Bible is and the internet is powerful, and it's the real Holy Spirit. It brings real results, in other words. And I think it's amazing how it's impacting and how it impacted our lives. And we have to remember that there's some people out there that are very smart when it comes to the internet, and they could be using it as a weapon to attack other people, or etc. It's crazy in a bad way. It could be using it for bad. So we have to pray and ask God, what He wants us to do, and how, or what company or companies He wants us to invest in and to support. And let's all pray that the ones that are operating in a negative way or whatever, that they will get shut down. And we just have to continue praying for those in authority, because we walk by faith, not by sight. That's why I love that movie, Black and Blue. I think that's what it was called. With the cameras like in their chest, and they're recording everything. And a lot of the bad people, they thought they could continue doing the evil that they were doing. But now that they can't, they know, and they're trying to hide everything, like all their evilness. But the great thing about everything is that there is always room for repentance, turning away from sin, turning away from what will not yield and produce good fruit. You might be out there and what you're doing is only going to rot you out. Like an apple in a basket that's rotten. And if good ones are in there, it will spoil the others as well. And I always thought about that. And now that we have YouTube, there's videos on that. And I think I've seen one. I bought some apples. There's an apple over here that was rotten, and then good ones. And this one started getting mold, decay. It attracted little fruit flies, gnats. And that slowly started creeping and growing on this other one. and whatever was around it. And eventually it'll spoil all the others as well. So we also need to be careful that we understand the Bible ourselves. That or the laws of the land ourselves. Because other people might try to come in and they might try to manipulate, deceive, lead you in the wrong path. And God says, don't be deceived. For whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. So don't let no one deceive you. And if they try to, all that stuff is going to go right back on them. Especially now with the internet, it's listening. So someone can tell you, like, hey, shh, don't say anything, or just do whatever I tell you, or whatever, or no one will ever find out, that type of thing. Yeah. That's like the movie Pinocchio. And then Pinocchio starts hanging out with the bad guys. And I think they even, they started hanging out with him. Or, I mean, he started hanging out with them. And that resulted in, like, someone, I think, trying to lock him up. Right? I forget, honestly. I haven't seen that movie for a while. Till his creator found him. Set him free. And he became a real boy. He had faith. So I don't know. I'm I'm just like everyone else. I don't know how everything operates and why it operates one way and not another way. And really, I'm not trying to find out. So I'm, like just trying to make my point, I guess, or throw my own opinion out there. Whether it bears any relevance or not. Because I'm out of words. I don't even know anymore. I'm so tired as well. Anyways, so all I do know is that the internet is super cool. And although we might not like it for whatever reason, I like it because it convicts me and it controls me just the way it should be. Because I'm a wild horse and it's taming me. It's amazing. It's like a trainer training a wild horse. So there's a lot of people out there like that. It's wild. I can do whatever I want. Whenever. Whenever. You know, that type of thing. And it's crazy. But God runs this bitch, right? God's in control. The universe. Everything. And then, so, if we decide to function out of the laws and rules and regulations that He has set forth, then we are functioning out of God's will. And there's consequences for that. But it's all done in love, though, not out of hatred and all that other stuff. It's pure love. Because God doesn't want us to get hurt. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt. But sometimes God could hurt people if they're outside of that. If they decide to function outside of whatever functions He wants us to operate in. Because yeah, God doesn't want us to get hurt, but at the same time, He has hurt people like Noah and the ark, um, Sodom and Gomorrah, and in the Old Testament, other people went to war, and there was a lot of bloodshed on both sides, but God's people received the victory. So I don't know. I guess no one really knows. Because if we did know, we would know exactly the course of action to take. And we do know, therefore we act. But besides all that, I think that the World Wide Web is key to a more successful, blossoming, flourishing type of civilization. Because there's a lot of countries out there with different laws and rules and regulations. The internet knows all of them. So it's just like a city with a low murder rate, and there's another city with a high murder rate. There's things that need to be considered, right? So obviously something is happening over here. Something is functioning properly over here. There is dysfunction over here. And this and that and this and that. So the internet will eventually be able to say, hey, this other way of operating is not working for anyone. But the internet will be able to process all this information for us. Because, a country could be running and functioning the way it wants to function, and people can do it for their own greed and gain and manipulate people. Like, just manipulate them just so they could win in the end and have whatever they want to have. But the internet knows everything, and God knows everything, and God knows when people are in need. He knows when people are hungry. And I believe that He provided us with the World Wide Web to help us all. Because, God forbid that anyone die from a drunk driver. And that has happened in the past. And it will continue happening. But because that's just life, right? What else are we going to do? What else should happen? Take away, remove alcohol from the grocery stores? That's another possibility, but I doubt that, right? And everyone's probably laughing. If you're watching this, you're probably laughing because you're thinking, yeah, that will never happen. But, usually when something is funny, it's okay to laugh, it's okay to joke around. But I remember the movie Menace in Society, and there was a guy, he was like on the road, on the street, whatever. He was like, yo, I'll suck your dick for $5. And that shit was so hilarious to us. And the guy eventually shot him and killed him. But it was funny to us because it was gay. A guy telling another guy that. But now that it's legalized, maybe not everywhere in the world, but it's legalized now, it's not funny. See what I'm saying? And people can get offended. We all have feelings. Doesn't matter if people out there are straight or gay or whatever. We all have feelings. And we all have pride or our own viewpoints. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not talking about one particular type of person. I'm talking on behalf of the whole world, nationwide. So, yeah. But you know what? God loves everyone. And we can't take life too seriously. But at the same time, we have to learn when to joke around, when not to joke around. We need to not say offensive things in the presence of other people, in front of other people, unless we're recording and we're uploading on YouTube and we're just like acting, then it's okay. But even then, it could lead other people to get into trouble. And that's when it's not okay. Because someone might joke around on television or on YouTube. So other people think, oh, it's okay for me to say this or to say that in public or around certain people, but it's not. It might be okay depending on the people you're hanging out with, but if you're hanging out with like complete strangers, then it's not okay. Like your friends, that's fine. That type of thing. But